why Sokka is the most important character in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Anything else you want to teach us?
As an Avatar: The Last Airbender superfan, I'd have to admit, Sokka is a bit of a loser. Out of Team Avatar, he ranks dead last in a global poll, even though he's a founding member of the squad. While everyone else got mastery over some cool elements, Sokka can't bend shit. He's egotistical, sexist, and basically the biggest laughingstock in the series. But what if I told you everything I just said was a lie? That actually, for all these years, that understanding of Sokka was only scratching the surface. What if I said that by answering these 3 questions, we actually prove that Sokka is the most important character in the entire show? Would you believe me? Question number 1. Who has the greatest character arc in Avatar: The Last Airbender? See, when we talk about top Avatar characters and their growth over the series, Sokka's ain't the first name that comes to mind. Most give that title to Zuko, and can you really blame them? Zuko goes from a brainwashed and angry prince hell-bent on capturing the Avatar, restoring his honor and conquering the world for the Fire Nation, to an honorable, peaceful king who works with the Avatar to usher in a new age of peace and prosperity. And at first, I was caught up in the Zuko glaze too. I mean, Zuko with his hair down is a completely different beast. But then I took a step back and asked myself the question, is Zuko's arc the most relatable, the most meaningful to me? Sure, Zuko being burnt and banished, then betraying only to reconcile makes for an amazing story. But the extremes within that plot leave his change as just that. A story, a spectacle, something that entertains but doesn't change who I am right here. But there's another character whose arc is a lot more down to earth, to the point it can pierce your very soul. Sokka. See, Sokka's character arc is not as big and flashy as Zuko's. He doesn't get branded or have a literal trial by fire. For many of us, we know Sokka's character arc as just him growing up. But this is where we are all wrong. Because where Sokka's arc lacks flashiness, it's more than makes up for in realism. In fact, for a lot of guys in particular, Sokka's arc is an actual manual for life. But how can a cartoon character be a manual for life? Also, please like, hype, and sub. Thank you. See, as much as social media would like you to believe, most guys aren't genocidal monsters. Most guys want to be a good man, or at the very least, they desire the praise that being a good man brings. But the problem is, many of us, including myself, have picked up biases, sexism, racism, etc. that make us dishonest with ourselves, leading to us to not actually measure up with the good man we want to be. I.e., we think we're hot shit, but we're really not. Examples being gym cells, finance bros, typical douchebags, you get the picture. Or we actually are fully aware of our weaknesses and insecurities, but are just not willing to do anything about it. Example being incel. But this is where the brilliance of Sokka's arc kicks in, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. See, Sokka sits comfortably in the first category of men. He thinks just because he's a guy, he's smarter than everyone else, stronger than everyone else, and results in him being the egotistical prick we see in the first couple episodes.
Girls are better at fixing pants than guys, and guys are better at hunting and fighting and stuff like that.
However, his journey in the show forces him to confront who he really is. Unskilled, rude, and above all, a joke. I mean, his encounter with the Kyoshi warriors sums it up best.
Good. Of course, I was going easy on you.
See, Sokka has to reckon with the fact he's just not that guy. Actually, he's a pretty big loser, and it sucks. He gets beaten up, he gets embarrassed, humiliated, the works by people he thought he was better than. And no one would blame him if he moved into that second category of guy who just sat on his ass and complained about how shit life is. But the beautiful thing here is, Sokka doesn't. Sokka recognizes his flaws, apologizes for his insults, humbles himself, and as a result, grows into a better person. and bags are shorty too. And this is why Sokka's arc is the best, because it's so real and human. It translates directly into all of our lives. Like if we all just dropped the ego, took an honest look at ourselves, and humbly worked on self-improvement, we'd be living in a utopia. No more gender wars, no more dating hot takes. We'd probably have flying cars by now. But this is only half the lesson that Sokka's growth shows us. And the second teaching pushes this principle of seeing reality and improving upon it to the maximum. Because with Sokka's new eyes, he can now see just how amazing his friends actually are. The people moving mountains and rivers like it is nothing. And now Sokka realizes that compared to them, he's nothing special. And again he mopes and complains.
Each of you is so amazing and so special, and I'm not. I'm just the guy in the group who's regular.
But then he does that wonderful thing again. He does something about it, finding a sword master to teach him to increase his own skills. But pay attention to the difference in how Sokka interacted with the Kyoshi warriors and how he now does with the sword master.
Sorry, ladies, didn't mean to interrupt your dance lesson. I was just looking for somewhere to get a little workout. I have a lot to learn.
You're not doing a very good job of selling yourself.
I know. Your butler told me that when I met you, I would have to prove my worth. But the truth is, I don't know if I am worthy.
I see. Well then, let's find out together how worthy you are. I will train you.
This to me is such a powerful scene because it sums up the beauty in Sokka's arc while illustrating a secret of life. Growth leads to growth. If Sokka had the same mindset he had at Kyoshi's Island, that sword master would have kicked him to the curb like Uncle Phil did Jazz. But because Sokka grew in humility back then, when a greater opportunity appeared before him, Sokka was prepared, leading to Sokka becoming the leader the world needed him to be. Being consistent in improving yourself leads to bigger and better development. So suddenly, you're being given opportunities that your past self could have only dreamed of. The importance of lessons like this cannot be understated and highlights the necessity of Sokka. But this is only a sliver as to why Sokka is the most important character in the show, because the next question will break your view of him forever. What is Sokka's main role in the story of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Ask most fans this question and you will get the answer comedic relief, which makes sense. Sokka's quips and slapstick comedy would put SNL to shame. But what if I told you that comedic relief is not Sokka's main role in the story? Then what is his function then? The answer? Sokka is the foil in the narrative of Avatar. See, a foil is a literary device where a character is used to highlight traits, flaws, or moral values in other characters, and one of the most critical aspects of the best stories. Why? Because it allows us to deepen our understanding of the cast while enriching the plot at the same time. And it's so powerful, you see it even in the likes of Shakespeare, between the King Lear and the Fool, where again the supposed funny character, the Fool, causes or has some of the most clearest insights in those around him. In Toph's case, Sokka helps us understand that despite Toph being the larger-than-life, unstoppable, earth-bending prodigy, behind her bravado and confidence, Toph is, as they say, just a girl who's blind. We see it in how Toph has a crush for Sokka, reminding us she really is just a young kid, but also teasing out the fact that she's more than that straight-laced tomboy. We see it in how Sokka always forgets she's blind, illustrating the depth of her independence and capability on a normal day. And it's most exemplified in the final battle, where as competent and as powerful the show makes Toph, Toph is completely reliant on Sokka to save her life. All of this peels back Toph's character to give a more fleshed out person. With Aang, Sokka acts like a foil by revealing to us Aang fears his destiny of facing Fire Lord Ozai. Everywhere they travel to, Sokka will be on everyone's neck, especially Aang, reminding them that they need to leave quickly so they can complete the mission of defeating the Fire Lord.
Unfortunately, we have to leave tonight. We need to get to Omashu. No sidetracks, no worms, and definitely no rainbows. We have a bigger mission that we need to stay focused on.
And this anxiety in Aang, culminated by Sokka, was then burst by Sokka when he made Aang reach his breaking point.
What's wrong with you? If this was the real deal, you'd be shot full of lightning right now.
I'm sorry, but it just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like myself.
There, that's how it's done.
With Zuko, Sokka is literally his parallel, highlighting that whether you're on the good or bad side of a war, war will kill your loved ones, rob you of your innocence, and leave you with harmful ideologies. And finally, but most significantly, to Katara. Sokka is how we truly understand the depth of parentification that happened to her. That mother role that's often prescribed to Katara is only validated once Sokka utters his infamous line.
But honestly, I'm not sure I can remember what my mother looked like. It really seems like my whole life, Katara's been the one looking out for me. She's always been the one that's there. And now, when I try to remember my mom, Katara's is the only face I can picture.
Sokka is not just here for the hee hee haha. He is the vehicle that provides a deeper comprehension into those around him. He is the mirror to Team Avatar that gives us a greater understanding of them. He has the most important role in the show, and without Sokka, this level of exploration would be impossible. But Sokka's character arc and him being a foil don't fully explain why Sokka is the most necessary person in the series. To do that, we have to examine the role Sokka is known for the most, the comedic relief. Now, most people know Sokka as the comedic relief, but they probably haven't thought before as to why a show like Avatar needs a comedic relief. So I ask the question, why does Avatar need a comedic relief? Why does a show as horribly dark as Avatar, that speaks about genocide, children being burnt, children brainwashed, war, death, famine being littered through every episode, why would such a show talk about all that, then add a guy who got stuck in a hole in the ground while trying to catch a lunch and got high off some cactus juice? I mean, the answer is obvious. Without Sokka's humor, Avatar would become impossibly bleak to watch. Just a story about a bunch of kids trying not to die over and over again. Sokka's humor adds levity to the series. It humanizes the story. The laughs, the smiles, the gags. It lets us breathe by giving us a break from all the doom and gloom, while serving us hope that if we can laugh in this situation, we can one day possibly believe that this hell will be no more. Sokka's comedic relief is hope, and hope in a show like Avatar is the most important thing, proving that Sokka is the most important character. But someone watching this may say, none of these points prove Sokka is the most vital person to the show Avatar The Last Airbender. You're telling bullshit. Alright. Let's go to the next logical step, right? If Sokka isn't the most vital person to the show, there should be little to no problem if you remove them, right? So what happens if you remove Sokka from the show Avatar The Last Airbender and all the points that make him special? You get the Legend of Korra and you get Asami. See, I've always disliked Asami, but I never understood why until now. When you have a non-special character in a story, but don't give them a background, literally reason for them being in the plot, you make them a drag on the narrative. To the point that after she was a plot device in season 1, Asami had to become a homie hopper just to stay in the story. Like, two of the biggest critiques of The Legend of Korra were that it had flat characters and it had a lot of trauma porn, which were definitely two problems which could have been alleviated with Sokka. To conclude, Sokka is the most important character in Avatar The Last Airbender because 1. He has the most realistic character arc, which is literally a manual for a good life. 2. He's the foil to the narrative, enhancing our appreciation of the show. And 3. Sokka's humor gives us the hope to actually enjoy the show proper. Please like and sub y'all, love y'all, and bye.